As long as I can leave a positive imprint on the world, that's my idea of success. Like, let me leave my courage to the next generation. Let me leave that support system to the next generation. Let me be able to talk to somebody so they don't try to kill themselves because, they were going through something. Like those to me are successes, where I want to help that one person, but I want that one person to help the next person.
What's up, everybody? I'm your host, Patrick Cook. Welcome to Being. Being is a place where we gather to explore some of life's most difficult questions. What does it mean to lead a meaningful life? What does it mean to live a life of purpose or on purpose? How do we make sense of the world? Really, what we're asking is, what the hell is going on? My intention with this podcast is to explore what it means to be human in the modern world through the lens of creativity, consciousness, and personal development. Through authentic conversations with a wide array of guests, including artists, intellectuals, scientists, visionaries, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders, Being ventures to make collective sense of an increasingly complex world with the unifying goal of building a sustainable future for all. As humanity continues to march full steam towards extinction, we can no longer afford to simply ask, what is best for me? The question now must become, what is best for me and the whole simultaneously? And so, dear audience, I want to inspire you to take full responsibility, to find your purpose, and to engage your evolution as a conscious agent. I challenge you to live your being. If you're enjoying the content, please do subscribe to the show and get a new episode delivered directly to your device every Friday. And as always, I love hearing from you. So please do rate and review the episode on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, or whichever platform you prefer. For show notes and more information, head on over to being-podcast.com. Now, on with the show. My guest today is Laarni Mulvey. She is a Filipino American power weight lifter, a women's strength advocate, author, and speaker, and is the founder of the global standing and strength movement. For 15 years, working in the sports industry allowed her to experience the capabilities and to observe the perceptions of women's strength in sports. This experience emboldened Laarni to channel her voice in disrupting the narrative of the perception of women and their capabilities. Known as the Power Lady, she encourages and leads women to honor themselves and build a powerful legacy for future generations. Laarni Mulvey, welcome to Being. Laarni Mulvey, welcome to Being. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. So one of the things I love about this podcast is I get to speak to and interview such diverse people. And so I'm really excited to drop in with you and hear about your journey. Founder and CEO of Strong and Mighty, and known as the Power Lady. This is so awesome. I think we should just start at the beginning. Like, how have you arrived at this place? What has your journey been to arrive at this place here and now?
Sure. So my journey pretty much began in like 1999. It's almost like two paths that I took. So my first path, in 1999, I was Filipino American, growing up in America, trying to figure out where I stand, where I fit in, and fitness was really something that has always been inside me. But as an Asian American, we weren't, like, especially for females, we weren't allowed to play sports. Like, my parents did not allow me to play sports, but my dad actually knew how strong I was. So I was the one that was carrying the groceries, doing the lawn, like climbing the ladders to clean the gutters. So I was actually the ones that he's like, okay, you're going to do that. And then my sister's like, okay, just go clean the house or something, you know?
But, so you're allowed to clean the gutters, but not play sports.
Correct. Yeah, it's weird. And
right?
I was allowed to play with I helped him lay down the wood floors in our house.
Wow.
So I was actually able to play with the air hammer or something like that. So
right.
But yeah, it was like, that's like the start of this fitness journey. So like I dabbled into trying to be a bodybuilder. And when I looked into it, I realized that there were so many restrictions with eating. And me as a Filipino woman, I love to eat. I love all different kinds of food. So I was like, okay, no, thanks. So when I started looking into like heavy weights, I was dating a guy at the time. Like he actually introduced me to like a strength gym. And he like introduced me to all these weights. But then when I started lifting more than him, he told me not to lift weights.
Oh, man.
He was like, you know what? You're lifting more than me. Maybe you should tone it down. So it was like the whole confidence level was like this. And at that time, you know, I'm 44, going to 45 this year. So at that time, you know, I'm like trying to impress him and trying to mesh into something I wasn't really. And when he said that, oh my gosh, my legs were cut off. And so like years and years passed. And then I still had that fire of like, I want to compete in something and I know how strong I am. You know what? I'm going to look into powerlifting. This was in 2019. I was like, you know what? I'm going to look into powerlifting, and looked into a coach, found a coach, did my first, it was March 2019, did my first competition in November 2019. And I was like, this is amazing. I love this. It fits me really well. But the lessons within it, oh my gosh, the lessons within powerlifting that I learned, it's really intertwined in my life. And that's where Strong and Mighty came from, because growing up, I was put in the corner, don't say anything, be quiet. So when I started getting into powerlifting, my coach now, I love him to death, but his lessons to teach me like my confidence, you know, he's like, Laarni, you have it in you. You just need to believe in yourself more. And so like that kind of roller coastered into building this, the Strong and Mighty company, Strong Mind, Able Body, where your mind and your heart have to connect.
Yes.
When you're competing, it has to connect, or you start second guessing yourself. The self-doubt creeps in when you're standing on the platform, and it all has to come together. So that my company came up, you know, like I started thinking about this company because I really wanted to empower other women to not be afraid. I mean, not just like being a physical strong woman, but like in your mind, you have to be physically matter. You have to like tell yourself that you can't be afraid to try something new, to ask a question, to apply for the job that you think you're not capable of. But just apply, see what happens. Yeah. You know, we always like second guess ourselves. As a female, We're like told to like, you know, maybe you aren't good enough because you don't have this. But really, we are strong enough if you teach us this. So there is so much that I can dive into when it comes to this. But like, I really wholeheartedly believe in how strong women are. And me, myself, you know, somebody will ask me like, you're 40 some years old. Why all of a sudden this? I'm like, well, physically, I don't want to be on a wheelchair when I'm 50, but mentally, I don't want my mind in a wheelchair when I'm 50.
Totally.
So that's where that whole power lady came from. Like I have one of my friends who has just started calling me the power lady because I use strength and power so much. Yeah. Just talking in general. And she's like, come on, power lady, you got this. So it stuck. So now I just kept calling myself that.
I love it. And you just own it. And that's the most beautiful part.
Yes, I own it.
Amazing.
I'm very proud of it too. Like I have no problem telling people my weight. I have no problem telling people my size number. I have no problem doing that because it's like, why? I have no reason to hide it.
I love it. I love your sense of empowerment. But like you said, that wasn't always the case for you. And
No.
especially growing up and your parents were not supportive, even your boyfriend wasn't supportive. So how did you sort of summon that courage, that trust in yourself to feel empowered and to trust that voice that you are good enough, you are strong enough to do anything you want?
So the roller coaster ride of the self-doubt and self-confidence, that happened throughout my whole life. And it's funny because this summoning of my true self came from a bad relationship.
They're great teachers, aren't they?
I know, right? And honestly, if I ever see this guy again, I want to, as much as I want to, in my mind, I hate him, I want to tell him thank you.
Totally.
Because he taught me that, he told me, he's like, you know what? Fuck you, Laarni. And then I think I was at the gym and he told me that. And then I got out of my car and I was just like, that's right, Laarni. Fuck you, Laarni. That's where it kind of like, it like put that brick down, put that like strong brick down. And I'm like, and I built off that. I built off somebody telling me to fuck off.
Awesome. I love that.
And now it's like I said, like if I were to meet him again in the future life, I'd be like, thank you for teaching me how much worthy I am. Even though you and I didn't work out and it turned out really bad, I thank you. Because now I know I'm more than someone that you can manipulate. I'm more than someone that you can say, you know what? You stand in the corner. I'm going to do whatever I want. You can't talk to other men, but I'm going to talk to other women.
You're right.
Like that.
Double standard.
Yes. So I built off that. And that was the turning point. That was in like 2013. That was like my turning point of myself. And I'm like, I mean, yeah, I had to go to therapy for a little bit, but that's okay. Like
of course it is.
I own the therapy part too, because my therapist was the shit. I loved her.
Great. I'm so glad you had a great therapist. And yeah, there's no shame in it whatsoever. It's called taking responsibility for your own shit.
Yes.
Right? And whatever that means, if you need therapy, if you need, I shy away from pharmaceuticals, frankly, but
yes, me too.
Because they lead down a dangerous path of dependency and all sorts of other things, but we don't need to go into that direction right now. But that's amazing that you were able to use that bad relationship as like a springboard into your own empowerment. Like there's so many other people probably listening, women especially right now, who might be going through something similar. What's some advice you might give them to, if they are in a toxic relationship, how to find their truth, how to find their power and really stand up and use their voice?
So this is what I learned. I'm a sexual being. I love sex as much as the next person. And this relationship showed me that sex was my manipulator. Sex was the manipulator of myself. Like,
so what you would use it to manipulate the other person or vice versa?
He would manipulate me.
Right.
He would manipulate me with my sexuality because, it was, well, if you don't do this, something that I didn't want to do, if you don't do this, then we're not going to have sex ever again. And to me, it connected sex with love, sex with relationships. And that's not how it works. That's to me, that's not how it works for me. I don't associate sex with love and relationships. It's part of it, but it's not the number one thing. So he would manipulate me to to do things I didn't want to do, or to experiment a little too much. And sex is my driving factor in relationships at times, where that is the number one thing. And that's what I want to make sure that kind of women understand, that sex is not your driver. Sex is a part of your driver, but it's not like the number one thing that you should fall back on. It's not, I mean, sex is something you give out of love and caring. You don't just give it freely. I mean, back in my 20s, I was just like, hey, yeah, cool. But as I empowered myself, I just realized it's a tool to love, but it's not your main tool to love. So I think that's where my strength comes from, is not just suppressing my desires. I mean, I know my desires, but it's more like, it's not the number one, that shouldn't be, I love him because we have, great sex.
Yeah.
At least to me,
Oh, for
But
sure.
when it does connect with somebody, it does become number one because it's a healthy relationship. So that's where I feel like women should know themselves stronger in that sense. But also know that they're capable physically to do a lot more than what people expect of them or standardize for them. That's how I lived my whole life, where my standard was my parents' standard,
Yeah.
and I think that standard, build your own standard.
Yeah.
Build your own expectation for yourself, not from others, because you can't control what other people do, but build your expectation for yourself and live for that and live your truth that way.
Beautiful. Beautiful. It says in your bio that you use your voice to bring about global change and awareness to disrupt the narrative surrounding the perception of women. I thought that was such a powerful phrase and statement. I wanted to ask you, in your opinion, what is the narrative surrounding the perception of women right now?
So the narrative of women is we aren't capable of doing something because we're not men, or we're trying to be men. Like when it comes to powerlifting, I was like, oh, you're trying to lift like a man. I was like, no, not really. I'm trying to live for me and not compare myself to a man. And I think the narrative right now, at least I think I know the narrative right now is a lot of perception is women are trying to be like men.
Totally.
I don't really agree with that narrative because of, if we were going to be like men, we would be men. But we are women, and we are so capable of so much more things than what has been driven in us, has been programmed in us since the caveman days. It's there's so much more to us. And I see a lot of the narrative right now where I actually jumped on a webinar a few months ago, and it was a webinar in Ireland, and their tagline was, if she can't see it, she can't be it. And it was for young girls. And I feel like there needs to be more awareness of what women's sports are like, what women's sports are going through, like the whole equal pay, pay, if I'm going to play the sport, we should get paid equally. So there's also that equality part that's still around since the 60s, 50s, like way back in there. Like, we want to make sure that that narrative is changing for the better, because by the time I'm dead, I'm hoping that Susie, who is 5 years old, knows that there is opportunity for her, that there is a support group for her, that she's not alone, that she has a group of strong-ass women that she can go back and forth on, even though some women may not agree. But just as long as there is a network, a group, that we have a support system, we, one voice is loud, but a group of voices is louder. So it's, to have that camaraderie is very important. And as a powerlifter, that's a big lesson that I've learned. You may be the only person on the platform lifting your weight, but the people around you are supporting you and cheering you on. And I feel like that's what needs to be changed. We need to support each other. We need to support the women in our lives. And, we go through a lot. I don't have any kids, but I observe everyone else who has kids and juggling so much stuff. And I'm like, do you need help? Can I help you? Is there anything I can do? And I feel like that camaraderie and that opportunity needs to be seen by not just us now, but like the upcoming generations as well.
For sure. And this resonates deeply for me because I have a 13-year-old daughter. And cultivating that sense of trust and empowerment in her from a very early age, that she can do and be and say anything she wants, is super powerful. But I want to come back to what you're talking about, the narrative, and just share some of my perspective, because this is something I've thought a lot about. It's to me, it's a balance between masculine energy and feminine energy is ideally what we're looking for. And so because women traditionally over millennia have been so oppressed and so put down and so ostracized in a male dominated patriarchal society, the natural instinct, and over the last 50 years and the rise of feminism is to empower the women. But like you said, that has manifest in some ways as women trying to be men. And examples I use are like Hillary Clinton or Nancy Pelosi, like women who are winning at the male patriarchal game. But to me, that's not what we like. What the role of women is in a balanced society is to be fully embodied in their feminine and their power in their feminine, which has been suppressed by a patriarchy who's terrified of the power of women. They know how powerful women are. Men know, and that's why they've put them down for so long. And so the question then becomes, okay, what does an empowered, strong, embodied woman look like and feel like? What do they do? How can they show up to be a powerful part of society? And that's a question I've asked a lot. And it's not necessarily behaving like a man, although, being successful in sports or in business, all the power to you. Absolutely. We need that as well. But that's not the only path is what I'm trying to say.
Right. Right.
And I think just one more point is how this because this manifests in the business world, the external world, but also in familial relationships and sexual relationships, where there needs to be the balance between masculine and feminine, and both playing to each other's strengths, right? Because the masculine does have that sort of strong, structured, action-oriented essence to it, and the female energy has more of a nurturing, creative, expansive, open, loving. And so those two balanced together in a healthy individuals makes a beautiful whole, right? Does that make sense?
Correct. Yes. I want to add to the balance of that.
Okay.
And communication.
Huge.
It's huge to the point where, I want women to find their voice, to be able to say what they're feeling, to say what they want, to ask, to know. And what's missing, at least from what I've researched and seen, what's missing is the communication, the education.
Right.
Yes, men will do men things, women will do women things, but together, when there's a communication, when there's that balance, when there's not that fear of asking and knowing, like guys are told to not feel anything. Right. Do not be emotional. You're not supposed to be emotional. But when there's the balance between the two, where I can ask my husband, like, hey, how are you feeling? He'll tell me instead of just saying, I'm fine.
Yeah.
That's really important in communication. And I tell my husband, I'm like, I can't read your mind, dude. I don't know what you want. I don't know what you're feeling. Like when he's snapping at me, I'm just like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah.
There's the idea of like sweeping things under the rug. Shouldn't be a priority. Like, talk about it. It may hurt, but there's that communication part. And for the feminine to educate the masculine and the masculine to educate the feminine, when you find that balance in that communication, things can be worked through. It may not be the easiest conversation, but when you work through things, I think the education goes both ways.
Yeah.
So, we can, I have to, I'm masculine as well sometimes, and I really have to stop myself. I'm like, you know what? He can do that. I sometimes go, can you take out the garbage? And he's like, okay. And I'm like, oh, fine, I'll just do it myself. And it's like, no, Laarni, back off. So it's kind of like the education for each other and the balance and communication. That's really important.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's worth going a level deeper is, where do these beliefs or programs come from in the first place? This is what we're programmed as children with, right? And so there's a societal, cultural belief system that's programmed into us at a very young age that needs to be questioned. Like, why are men not told to honor their emotions or express their emotions? Because it's been shown as a sign of weakness in the business place, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or in war or whatever, whatever the context. But to me, especially from the perspective of men, if you aren't in touch with your emotions, able to express them and to use them as a guidance system, then you are at a distinct disadvantage in the world now, I think.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
That idea that you shouldn't feel any emotions is antiquated and obsolete. And the same goes for on the feminine perspective. Why are they not standing in their power? Why do they feel scared to use their voice? Because they've been taught that's their place in society, right? And so it's dismantling these belief systems that's been programmed into us, which is why it's so difficult to escape from, for when you reach middle age, because you've been thinking and feeling this way your whole life.
Yep.
It's like, now I have to, and so that's, I honor each and every person, yourself included, who has the courage to do this work, to peel back the layers of the bullshit, to get to the essence of who you really are and be it unapologetically. And so that's how I feel you embody that role model for women. And I love that.
Yes, thank you. It took a long time, but it's here, and I am excited to share it with people, because this is, I know I'm not the only one.
No,
I know I'm not
course.
the only one. And so, and especially being Asian at the same time, that's a totally different, that's another conversation.
Oh, it's so awesome. An Asian female power lifter. That is so awesome. So empowering.
Yeah, the whole breaking the mold thing, we think Asian women are like the small, weak, don't say anything. And then here I come, and I'm just like, boom, 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 boom. I'm like, give me that weight, So I totally embrace my strength, and I'm not ashamed of how strong I am. And there's other women stronger than me, but when it comes to someone who has hidden it since 1999, and to bust out, it's amazing, and I feel so true in myself, and so it just makes me happy. Like, training makes me happy. As some people are like, oh my god, I gotta go to the gym. I'm just like, okay, it's Wednesday, gotta go train. But I enjoy it so much.
Awesome. I think it's worth mentioning, just going back to our previous dialogue about feminine and masculine energy, it is possible for each sex to embody both of those energies. So you just mentioned that you embody a masculine energy, and when you're lifting or doing other things, amazing. It doesn't have to be women only in feminine energy and men only in masculine energy. Both of us, everybody has both energies at certain times, and one is more dominant. And so there's no, I'm a sensitive, emotional man, so I'm in touch with my feminine, but I'm also powerfully in touch with my masculine. I can get shit done. I can be assertive. I can use my voice. And so within an individual, I think it's worth having both of them and being embodied in both of them to have that sense of balance within you.
Yes, I totally agree. That's powerlifting for me. Like I think the perception, people think powerlifting, you should be more masculine. And here I come with my full makeup on and my hair up, I even spray some perfume on. That's okay. But, it's kind of like, that's just how it is. That's just how I am. That's how I embrace, that's how I balance both.
Awesome. I love it. She smells good lifting those weights.
Yes, that's right. And she's screaming as loud as she can because she needs to get that 400 off the ground, but she smells good.
Oh, that is so awesome. And one of the things you said earlier is it's not necessarily a competition. It doesn't matter how much weight the other person is lifting, or if you want to be in competition, that's great too. But I think the fundamental impulse of evolution is to be better than you were yesterday, just to be improving. Like, I want to be a better person at the end of each day, just learning new things, growing, evolving. And so for me, that's what sports is for me now, rather than like, I have to be better than the other person. I have to win at all costs. I think that's a toxic energy that's invaded sports. Right.
Yes. And it's the comparison factor.
The comparison factor.
We're comparing each other. Like, I can do this, you can't do that. and then let me post it on social media so everybody can see that I'm better than you. And I just like, no, that's not how it should be. We need to support each other. So, your main competition is who you see in the mirror every morning.
Totally.
So it's like, compete with yourself. Are you, like how you said, are you better than yesterday?
Yeah.
And if you're not, what are you going to change today, or what are you going to tweak today?
Yeah.
Or add or something like that. But I just feel like it's, you're really, I've learned that my competition is myself.
Yeah.
And I talk myself out of a lot of stuff. And so it's like, it's either yes or no. But it's so easy to talk yourself out of something, because then you're the one that puts the self-doubt in yourself. You're the, and then it's like the rabbit hole of why? So it's almost like you have to really understand that your competition is with yourself. Do what you need to do for yourself. Your standards are for yourself, and comparing is not, what do they say? The comparison is the thief of joy.
Oh, I love that quote. It's so true.
I do too.
It's so true. It's so true. Hey, are you feeling lost, frustrated, angry about the state of the world, but unsure what to do about it? I get it. The world is a pretty messed up place right now. Yet, in these interesting times of shattered realities, many people are using alcohol to escape and numb their feelings of anxiety, dread, and uncertainty. I know, I did it for years. This is why I've made it my mission to support brave souls in mastering their inner world and finding a deeper sense of purpose. To that end, I created Reset 2020. Reset is a personal transformation mastermind group with the intention of resetting your relationship with alcohol and becoming the best version of yourself in an empowering, supportive, online community. To check out more about Reset 2020 and to watch my masterclass video, head on over to go.patrickcooklife.com. Remember, Cook is spelled with an E, C-O-O-K-E. So it's go.patrickcooklife.com. All right, now back to the show. So what are some of the practices that you use on a daily basis to stay sort of grounded, healthy, creative, in touch with your inner essence?
So in the morning, I walk my dog. I'm a very scheduled person. So when I walk my dogs in the morning, I talk to myself in the morning.
Cool.
I give myself my affirmations. I give myself my pats on the back.
Yes.
Like today's affirmations were, okay, all right, universe, I accept every gift you're giving to me today.
Awesome.
Yeah. Even though it was only like 18 degrees where I'm at in the morning, which is, I love the cold, but like I accepted that today. And I usually say it like 3 or 4 times just so I can get that program in me and already know that I'm going to start my day with a gift. Like today's gift was, even though I asked for you to come into my life, but like when I signed up and I asked to be on your show, it's like, hey, this is a gift, because not everybody was just like, yeah, sure, come on no, but like I accepted it as a gift. But also that word accept, I say that to myself probably like once or twice a day, because it's like I'm accepting myself. I'm accepting the gift that you're giving me. I would accept a compliment. I would never accept a compliment back in the day. I had one of my teammates tell me like, oh, you're so great. I go, I know. Thank you.
Good for you.
It's like that accepting. Like if somebody is giving you an acknowledgement, I feel like you're accepting it and saying thank you. You're completing the circle. I mean, the compliment comes around and you have to complete the circle.
Yeah.
But also I've started at probably the end of the day, I do like a please and thank you. So I do like 4 or 5, like, hey, it's almost like preparing me for the next night. So please, give me the strength to write another 500 words for my book. Please give me some snow because I really want some snow. Please let my dogs be okay tomorrow. Like I'll say things like that. And then on the thank you side, I say, thank you for the snow that you've given me, even though it's not as much as I wanted, but thank you for the snow that you're giving me.
Yeah.
Thank you for the words that I have on my paper now. it's like that appreciation, that gratitude at the
So
end of the
important.
day.
Yeah.
So it's almost it's closing my circle for the day. I say my pleas for that's coming up, and I thank you, universe, God, my belief system. Like, I thank you for everything that thank you for the toast that you gave me this morning. Because it's like there's so many other things that I could be like, oh, I don't have this, I don't have that. But really, there's a lot more that other people don't have.
Yes.
And it's appreciating what I have.
Totally.
And I don't want more. I mean, I do want more. I take that back. I do want more, but in a different sense. But like for things, like I don't want more. But I just think what I have now, I'm in a warm house, things like that. And it's that circle. And it's that, I mean, I guess it's that pattern system I have in my head, like be thankful, ask for things. And that keeps me going. That keeps me knowing who I am and knowing that I have stuff to do, that I have a purpose.
So it sounds like this wasn't always the case for you. Like you weren't always in touch with gratitude and your inner self, and you had to overcome these beliefs. So I'm curious, because I think I want to make the podcast as practical as possible for people who might be resonating with what you're saying, be stuck in their old patterns and their old beliefs and looking to break free. Like, how did you do it? How do you break free of those old belief systems, like imprinted from your parents or your authority figures, that you're not allowed to play sports, for example? Like, how do you get over that?
So I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm a rebellious person.
I was
a rebellious child.
Right.
But the way I broke out of these standardized patterns that have been ingrained in me, my first step was I took my inner inventory.
Okay. What does that mean?
I had to face what my cultural expectations were.
Beautiful.
I really had to understand them, because you just sweep them under the rug and you don't really understand them. And then they creep out from under the rug and you're like, well, why are you creeping back out? And that really started the change in me. Besides the fact that bad relationship is like, I had to really understand, like, where did I come from? As an immigrant, like I was born in the Philippines, moved to the States. It's like, I had to learn, like, why I am the way I am. And that inner inventory was like my culture, my family, my money fears, who was around me, what was in my environment, what is it that's holding me back. So like I had to kind of do that that mental inventory of those anchors. Like I had those anchors. It's like I want to move forward, but those were like the things that were holding me back and not letting me move forward. And once I addressed it to myself, it was almost like, cut it. Yeah. Cut the anchor, cut that. And I know that there's people in my life that are always going to be in my life, but there's also people that were in my life that should not be in my life.
Yes. And
those are the anchors I had to cut. And I also had to seek the people I wanted in my life. My mom was strong. She was a strong woman when it come to like taking care of the family, helping out financially with my dad, everything like that. But then what was missing for me? I had to understand what was missing for me. And that part was fitness. That part was understanding that I had the strength, that I needed an outlet for it. And it like built upon that. Like all these bricks of my fortitude were like boom, 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 boom. And that's how I kind of broke my pattern. It's like we're so used to doing the pattern ABC, 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 ABC. Like, you have to break the pattern. You have to put a roadblock there to go around it because you have to analyze it.
Oh, and I love this.
I think that's a big part of growth. A big part of inner growth. It's you have all these walls put up. But it's like you're protecting everybody from seeing who you are. But what about if you broke a hole in the wall and saw what was out there? And there was something out there, you're like, oh, I want to try that. You pull down the wall and you go that way.
Yes.
So I think there's that protective factor that I've had for a long time. And once I kind of like took one little hole and like peeked through it, I was like, I want more of that. I want more of that. I want to do more of that. I know I can do more of that.
Yes.
So and telling yourself that you're capable. I called it the shoulda, woulda, couldas. Oh, right. I should have done this. I could have done this. I would have done it this way. It's like, how about saying, I will do it. I'm able to do it. And if I don't know how to do it, I'm going to ask how to do it.
Yes. Awesome. I love that. Oh, you're speaking my language. Everything you just said is like gaining clarity about, and cultivating self-awareness. Taking inventory is how you described it.
Taking inventory.
So important. And then the metaphor you used about building, first of all, breaking down the walls and then building it back up. This is how I sort of describe my transformation, is like, I had to break down everything. Like my career, my relationship, my sense of identity, my relationship with money, everything of that I'd built up or that I thought I was supposed to be doing. It's like, wait a minute, this is not who I really am, And so I had to break down everything. And that's the scary part. That's why people don't do it.
That's why people don't do it. Yep.
They get to middle life and they're like, they've built this identity and this sense of self, but they're miserable. And that triggers a lot of midlife crises as well. It's like, holy shit, I've built this facade of a person. I'm miserable and it's not really me. I don't know what to do about it. So I'm just going to continue on.
Yes.
Right. And so that leads to depression and addiction and shit. But if you have the courage to take inventory, gain clarity, and then to start to reprogram some of those old beliefs that are no longer working to ones that are more empowering, then you're building the foundation of who you truly are, which is really what this work is about. So well said. Yeah. So you mentioned earlier about a connection to higher being or higher source or God. Would you mind describing what that means to you? What is your connection?
So I say godly universe, or it's like somebody's like, you got to pick one or the other. It's either God or the universe. So I kind of just mesh them together.
Yeah. Why do you have to pick?
Because why do I have to pick? And
you don't have to pick.
God is in the universe. Universe is around me. God is around me. So why can't I?
They're the same thing to me.
Choose. Yeah. To me, it's like, okay, I say
it's just a label.
Yeah. And my belief, like I just feel like my belief in that higher power, it's me connecting with an energy that I can't feel or I can't see. Sorry. Right. It's this energy that I can't see it. It's like the imperfect faith. We have this faith. It's something that we hope for, but we want the visual like proof of faith. But really, it's like the wind. You kind of you feel the wind, you see the wind in the leaves rustling, but wind is invisible. And you just know it, it's there, you feel it at times. And I feel like that's where my connection to the world is. Like, I want people to feel my energy from across the virtual world. I want people to feel my energy when I walk into the room. Yeah. And that is my connection to the world. That is my connection to the universe. That's my addition to the universe, is pushing out as much as my positive energy as I can. Yes. Because there's so much negativity and it's so easy to default to the negative. If I can push out as much as my positive energy as I can, I will do it. And I want my neighbor from across the street to feel it. Like I want my neighbor who, it's funny because I was walking my dog in the summer. I started walking my dog outside at the same time. And there was this lady walking around with her mask on. And I just said, hello. That was my energy to her, was a hello. And we ended up becoming good friends.
Awesome.
Cool. And that's what I feel like that's what the energy is. That's what my connection to the universe is, because I want my energy. We're socially distancing, but I still want you to know that I honor you.
Yeah.
I respect you. If you were to fall, I want to help you. So there's that connection to the universe for me. It may not be in a 4,000-year-old book, but it's, it's something that I believe in, that my connection in my universe and my feeling is something that I just add into the universe.
Oh, I love it. Thank you for that. I totally do. I totally agree with it. It's an energy. It's a feeling, right? And when we are up in our minds, up in our egos, we get so distracted by all the noise of the day-to-day life and all the shit, the stories that we're telling ourselves in our head. There's so much noise and distortion that we can't tune into that energy. So for me, meditation is a huge tool that I use to sort of calm the noise in my mind so I can tune into that energy and feel it. And then then you can begin to operate from that energy. Like you going, walking your dog, you're in that energy, you say hello, the other person feels it.
Yes.
Right? If you're out there walking your dog and you're in your head, you're closed off, maybe you don't say hello.
Yes.
And that's the difference.
Exactly.
Right? So when you're embodied in that energy. And so for me, it's like a collective consciousness. It's source energy that's all around us at all times. And becoming aware, like you said, of what am I contributing to that energy?
Yes.
Is it negativity? Is it doubt? Is it fear? Is it scarcity? In a lot of these things, most people live in those energies, right? And so the more people that are contributing that energy to the collective, that's what becomes the dominant in the collective, right? So for me, in order to change the world, it's very important for each of us to take responsibility for what energy we're contributing to that collective, right?
Yes.
So that's why this work as individuals is so important. We've been taught that we're powerless as individuals. I think that's bullshit. I think we're all incredibly powerful. And the more of us that realize we come together as a collective and start to, then the dominant energy becomes one of expansiveness, abundance, love, cooperation, rather than scarcity, fear, competition, greed, profit, right?
Right.
And so that's why as soon as I saw your brand and you reached out to me, I'm like, hell yeah, she's coming on the show. I love your vision and your vibe. This is awesome. Laarni Mulvey, this is so much fun. So just a couple more questions for you before I let you go. One of the questions I love to ask my guests is, what is your definition of success and how has it changed over time?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Right?
Yes, that's a good one. I guess I have a few different definitions. So business-wise, my definition of success is putting my sister on my payroll.
Cool.
Because it's just her and I.
Right.
My parents are deceased. So that's like one of my business successes. Like, oh, when I could put my sister on a payroll system and work for me, that's awesome.
Cool.
I've hit it big. Yeah. But when it comes to business, like my vision of success is having my women's strength initiative thrive. There's a big umbrella for it, but I really want to have that network of, hey, you know what? I want to bring in the understanding of what strength does for a woman, and bringing that into either a gym or a talk or something like that, where the access to education, the access to picking up a barbell is there. And that to me is one of my successes. But also for me, personal success is that my legacy lives on after I die. I may never know it when I die, but the legacy, when someone is saying, you know what, Laarni, I went to one of Laarni's classes or courses or something, and she taught me that there's so much more to me than my body.
Awesome.
That there is a voice that I have that can be used for good.
Right.
Yeah, so those are like my like small successes. I guess they're small in my mind, but a legacy is something huge. But like those are the things I want people. It's like I want to be known for.
Beautiful.
But like if I'm talking about like other successes, I want my 8-acre land somewhere where my house is in the middle, and I die in that house and nobody knows. Like like that is like, ooh, I'm so successful that I can have this 8, 10, whatever acres, and you have to take, the dirt road to my house. Or hey, has anyone seen Laarni in like 5 days? No, okay, let's go check up on it. And I'm like, sitting with my cup of coffee that's been in my hand for 5 days.
Nice.
Like those are.
It's a good way to go.
Those are like my vision of success. I mean, like yeah, I could do the whole fame and money thing as well, but that's like a bonus.
Yeah.
That's a bonus. But like as long as I can leave a positive imprint on the world, I will do that. That's my idea of success. Like, let me leave my courage to the next generation. Let me leave that support system to the next generation. Let me be able to talk to somebody so they don't try to kill themselves because, they were going through something. Like those to me are successes, where I want to help that one person, but I want that one person to help the next person. So
yes.
like, I call it a positivity forest. Like
awesome.
I want the seed of positivity. Everyone has the seed of positivity in them. I want to be the water to let them bloom so they can take it and then plant their own forest and so forth and so forth. And it, brings that positivity forest to light. So that's what
I love that. Yes, I love that. I want to be the water too. I am the water. I am the water.
You are the water.
But I love what you said about your legacy and passing it on to future generations, because that comes back to what we were just talking about. It's not just about you. It's not just about your ego and your profit and your fame and your material possessions in this lifetime. It's about creating an energy that contributes to the collective, that goes beyond you and this lifetime, that contributes positively to humanity moving in a positive direction. Yes. So that's a beautiful, beautiful way to articulate it. Thank you for that. You mentioned a book. You're working on a book?
I am working on a book. It's called Standing in Strength, Find the Power Within. It's
nice.
I haven't really said too much about it, just because you're the first person. You're the first person to hear about it.
Well, you're launching it right now into the universe.
Into the universe. So it's a collective of stories of women's strength.
Awesome.
It's we talk about that. How did our sport, or how did what we've learned in our sport intertwine into our lives, and how are we helping the community or the people around us that way? Awesome. So there's 7 women helping me with this book, and every story is different. And it's relatable because there's stories about bullying, there's stories about the self-worth, understanding your self-worth, and how did you find that strength? Like when you asked me earlier, how did I find it, that my courage, like I don't want women to feel that they're alone, and to have these other women telling their story that's relatable. I want it's an example. It's almost like an example, like, okay, this book is going to be something I could turn to page whatever and see so-and-so write about the story, and like, okay, now I could go apply for that job.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, so
beautiful, empowering.
It's an empowering book, and it's like the first series of the Standing in Strength vision that I have, and I'm hoping like the next version of the Standing in Strength is more the males. Like I want to get some more males talking about how a woman is, is a big influence in your life, and how did you honor her as well? So it's kind of a collective book right now, and it's coming out March 13th, 2021. So after I get off this, I gotta write some more words.
Nice.
But yeah,
Awesome.
that is the collective of this book and the direction. Like I just continually, I want to have people have more visual of what a woman can do. That's part
Yes.
of changing the narrative. It's not just like hearing, but like I want them to see it and say, "Oh,
Yes.
okay, all right, cool." So that's really I'm adding to that voice. I'm adding to the woman's
Amazing.
voice with that book.
Amazing. Such powerful work, Laarni. Thank you so much. All right. Last question for you. And this one is a doozy.
Oh gosh.
Now, so if you were to take all of your experiences and your knowledge and the wisdom that you've gained and distill them down into one message or one sentence, what would it be?
Oh, this is a great one.
All right.
I've had this in my head for forever. It's cry in strength instead of struggle.
Ooh.
Because
Wow.
the struggle, we've cried through our struggles. We have cried out loud for help. We have cried to ourselves like, why? Use your tears as a strength cry. You know, as a wolf cries out loud for, hey, my family is out there. I need help. You know, it's like that signal, like cry in strength instead of struggle, because we need to know that our struggles can define us and hold us back. But when we use it as a strength, we learn from it and move forward.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Laarni Mulvey. What an honor it is and has been to drop in with you today and to help you share your message, because it's so powerful and so necessary right now, what you're doing. So thank you for the work you're doing in the world.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Do you want to let people know where they can find you online?
So my website is laarnimulvey.com. It's very rough. Let's just say it's a very rough website, but you can see a little bit more about me on there. On Instagram, I'm at Laarni Mulvey, where I post some of my training videos. So it's more of not a training tip, but like, hey, I could do it, you can too. But a lot of information about me and what's coming up next is on Instagram at laarnimulvey.com, or sorry, at Laarni Mulvey on Instagram. On Facebook, I'm Laarni Eliza. I haven't changed my last name to Mulvey yet, so Laarni Eliza. But those are the ways that you can find me. So
awesome. And I'll put all those links in the show notes for people to reach out to you and continue your beautiful work. Thank you so much for your time today, Laarni.
Thank you for having me. It was fun.
My pleasure. Okay, have a fabulous day.
Thanks, you too.
Ciao.
Bye-bye.
Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. And if you enjoyed the show, please do subscribe, rate, and review. For more information and show notes, head on over to being-podcast.com. We'll see you next time, and remember, live your being.